Hello my little someones, welcome to a new video. My name is Velky and thank you for coming back to a new video because today I have a new topic for you guys. But before that, make sure to like and subscribe if you're new here, and also Happy New Year because there's a pretty good chance it's now 2026 for you guys. So I hope you had a lovely New Year's Eve or whatever that's called. And for 2026, I have a bunch of exciting things planned for you guys. So if you don't want to miss out, we got a bunch of cool content coming up for this channel, for the main channel, but also most importantly for my Twitch. Most of the things that are going to happen and all the events that I'm going to be doing will most likely be happening on twitch.tv/Velky, so make sure to follow so you don't miss out on anything. And if you want to stay notified with all my content in general, make sure to join my Discord at discord.gg/Velky because then I'll be updating you with my new live streams, new videos, and all the other content I'm making. And with that being said, today's video topic is about... or at least in some way or another, because it's more about my sexuality and how I discovered that. And before we get too deep into it, I like to point out something very important regarding my sexuality, and that is that I am actually more pansexual leaning than bisexual leaning. I do tell people that I'm bisexual, but that's only because of the fact that it's a lot easier to explain. If you tell people that you're bisexual, they're like, okay, and they move on. But if you start telling them about pansexual, then they're gonna be like, do you like pants? I swear, you don't know how many times I've heard that joke. It's not funny. Stop. No, but jokes aside, I'm actually pansexual technically. To get into this video, yeah, let's talk about my pansexuality/bisexuality and how I discovered that. At this point, it's been like almost 2 years now, and when I kind of look back at this whole thing, I generally believe that I've had moments before in my life where you definitely had seen that there's like some kind of like bisexuality present, but I was like coping about it. And I'd like you people to know that the reason why this whole thing is so like underground for me with like bisexuality and even pansexuality is because of the fact that I grew up with conservative parents, and I'm sure that I think I've mentioned this in my femboy video as well. And of course, in that scenario, it is similar to the femboy story. It's kind of like the I don't really know if this is really something that I am, because I am being told that being bisexual or being gay is not okay. When I was younger, it wasn't really that crazy for your parents, at least my parents, to tell me that, hey Velky, you should never kiss another guy, that's weird, or you should not like have feelings for them because that's not normal, and yada yada. So of course, when you are younger and you're being told these things about that you shouldn't be bisexual, it kind of threw me off, because sometimes I've had moments where I was younger where I thought to myself, hey, that guy is kind of cute, but you know, I don't really know what to do with these thoughts, if that makes sense. Like, I thought that I was going like insane or something like that, and of course I kept it hidden because, you know, I'm not gonna go to my parents and then being like, hey, I thought I saw this one guy, I thought he was cute. You know, I'll probably get gutted by my parents, honestly. But that's the thing, like in my younger teenager years, I think I've definitely had a couple of moments where I would look at guys and be like, oh my, you know, I was a bit of like taken aback, and I always said like, hey man, he kind of cute though. Ultimately, as years has passed on, I always told people that I'm just straight, but obviously I feel like there was always a little hint of bisexuality in me. I think I'm kind of into guys, but I'm not sure because like my parents told me I can't, and it's weird and it's strange, right? So I always had that feeling of like I couldn't do things because I was told from a young age feeling this way is not normal. I think that's generally a problem. Luckily, when I was younger, I had a very loving sister that taught me a lot about LGBT, and one day she sat me down and she was like, hey Velky, sometimes there's two guys that can love each other, and sometimes there's two girls that love each other. My first reaction to that, I was just like, ugh, what the fuck? You're being weird, sis. Like, what the fuck, man? You know, so I was a little bit confused by that, because obviously when I was raised, I always believed being other than straight is wrong and strange, right? Because I was fed these lies. She told me that being LGBT, being gay, being bisexual is a completely normal human thing. She told me if I'm ever into guys, that I can go to her and tell her about it, and you know, that she is a safe space for me in case that I, you know, feel that way. And it's awesome because I always think back to that moment, because I feel like if she never taught me those things about LGBT and never gave me the idea that it's okay to be gay or to be bisexual, I don't think I ever would have been. I feel like my sister had a huge impact on my life when it comes to that, because she taught me about LGBT. She brought me to like a pride parade. She has given me a lot of leverage in order to explore myself, because I felt like that no matter what, I could always go to her and talk about things. Once I turned around like 22 or 23, I think like around 2023 was the moment where I definitely feel safe to actually explore myself in my own space, because I built this community with you guys where a lot of you guys are probably LGBT and a lot of you guys guys are probably femboys. And honestly, because I have this community, it gave me the opportunity to be able to open myself up to these opportunities of exploration, to think about my sexuality that I normally could have never done, because all these years I've always been with girls, but at the same time, I always thought there was something missing. I felt like there was more to me than just being straight, maybe, for that matter. Maybe I just like guys. I might be bi-curious. I had very supportive people around the time telling me about like, hey, maybe you are bi-curious, you should try things out, or, you know, you should discover yourself a little bit more, you know, take it at your own pace. I've always been reassured by my friends that it's okay. I obviously had a bit of a trouble to kind of like come to terms with it, since ultimately, if you're told your entire life that something isn't okay, and then at some point you think to yourself, oh, wait a minute, but it is okay though. It's hard to kind of like get that ick off you, to like kind of think about it not in a strange way, even though you know for a fact there's nothing wrong with it. And, you know, it's that conditioning that's in your brain into thinking that something is wrong. As time has moved on through those 2023 and 2024, I just explored more and more when it comes to my sexuality. I looked into certain things, wink wink, when it comes to guys and girls, and generally my attraction level towards both men and women and stuff like that. And as time has passed on, I realized that I think it doesn't really matter what their gender is, what their biological sex is. It doesn't matter to me what they identify as. At the end of the day, I found out that not only was I bisexual or bi-curious, I think I'm demisexual. I think that firstly, I don't really necessarily have an attraction to any people unless I have like a bond with them. And that bond could be with anyone. That could be with a guy or the girl or with an MB. For me, it didn't really matter what they look like. It didn't really matter to me what gender they were, except their personality. You know, someone with a beautiful personality, I can find extremely attractive. I think for me personally, the only like turn off, probably people that don't really take care of themselves, dirty ass room, haven't showered for months, you know, like it's not about necessarily having to look great, but you have to look like you take care of yourself. For me, the most important thing about a person is personality. I don't care so much about what they look like or what they identify as. For me, it's more about, you know, do I vibe with them well? Do we get along well? Can I have a good laugh with you? Do you have a sweet personality? That's more important to me. But besides that, as time has moved on, I found out due to that I was pansexual, mainly because I was attracted more to personality and also just a person rather than, you know, what gender they are or what they identify as. But yeah, basically, as the year of 2024 moved on, I experimented with a bunch of things. I kissed some guys, honestly. I explored around. I tried out some more things, which honestly is a little TMI, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it. Get it? But anyway, as the year went on, I just tried things out because I had the opportunity to be open about it, because I could just explore my sexuality without being worried about judgment, or for that matter, my parents. I kept it a secret for them. They still don't know about it, because at the end of the day, I don't really give a shit if they know or not. I don't really see the point of telling them, especially if they've already kind of made clear that, you know, they're not a big fan of it. I don't think they're necessarily phobic or in any way hateful. I think they've changed a lot over these years, but obviously at the same time, I don't really give a shit about whether they know it or not, and I'm not going to take the risk. I think for most people that always ask me the question, hey Velky, how do I come out to my parents? I mean, honestly, you probably already come out to your parents if they have given you the safe space to do so. I feel like that if you feel like your parents won't judge you and they will treat you with love and respect when you come out to them, you wouldn't even be sitting here asking me that question. If your parents feel like they're very phobic or very against what you feel like and your sexuality, then you probably shouldn't tell them. Why? Because why should you? What's the difference about them knowing and not knowing at all? Yes, they're your parents, but it's your sexuality in your life. Like, if they don't make it clear to you that they're gonna support you through your journey of sexuality discovery, then they don't deserve to know. Because at the end of the day, all they're gonna do is do the opposite. If they're really against what you are, then they're gonna make sure that you turn quote unquote straight again. But at the end of the day, you can't make someone straight. Just like how you can't just turn someone bi. You have always been bi, or you were always gay, or you were always lesbian, but you just didn't know about it yet. What's the point of telling my parents if at the end of the day, it probably is just gonna make my life a lot harder than it has to be? And honestly, I'm happy with the way things are right now. I don't care if they know or not. They can live their entire life not knowing that I was bisexual, and it wouldn't make a difference to me or them. And I don't really think it's necessary for them to know. And maybe you feel different about it, and that's totally okay. But for me personally, as much of a family person I am, I just generally think this is one of those things my parents should never have to know. They're just gonna work against you. They're just gonna complain. and you're just gonna make your life way more miserable. And honestly, for you, it might go the same way. If you feel like that your parents are not supportive at all, just keep it to yourself and come out to the people around you that do care and will support you. Why waste your energy on trying to convince someone that probably will never agree with the way how you feel about yourself, than spending that energy on someone that is supporting you instead? And that's what I did. I had so many moments where I could explore myself a lot more and figure things out for myself. Eventually, somewhere around 2024, around the end of the year, I said to myself, okay, I think I'm bisexual now. I think eventually, after all those months of discovery, and eventually I just was like, fuck it. There's no way that I'm not bisexual, right? Like, it's just because of all the things I've done and all the things I was okay with. And to me, it all made sense. This is just exactly how I felt like I should have been all my life. And that's how I eventually came to terms that I was bisexual. Eventually, like I said before, the bisexuality eventually turned into pansexuality, and then maybe more demisexuality. And honestly, that applies to me extremely well. Pansexuality applies extremely well too. But I like to tell people that I'm just bisexual because it's a lot easier to explain. Finally, I found a moment for myself that I can decide for myself what I want and not have people in my life and people around me decide what I want. It's my life, it's my decisions, and I think I should be living on my terms. And if I feel like that I want to kiss guys and I want to kiss girls and I want to be okay with both of that, then I think I should be allowed to. And so I have. So yeah, I hope that this kind of summarizes pretty well about how I got to figure out my bisexuality. It was a bit of a short story, and you know, there's many different ways to discover it. And honestly, I feel like that most of you guys can figure it out for yourselves what the best method is for you, because I think for everyone else, it is slightly different. Humans are problem solvers. We are meant to solve problems, right? We're meant to figure things out on our own sometimes. And I think you can do that too. There's always safe spaces on the internet where you can openly be bisexual. For example, my community is very open, as long as you're not being weird about it though. When we start talking about sexual things or sexuality, that's where people kind of get a little freaky sometimes. Respectfully, don't. I'm sorry for the slightly shorter story than normal. I think there's not really much I can say about my bisexuality other than discovering it. And honestly, I can't really go too deep into detail in most of them because like it's just kind of like TMI, but also they're not really interesting, and I don't really know if it's really something that is important to point out. All it comes down to is I experimented a lot in many different ways that helped me discover myself. Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, you kind of learn a little bit more about me and how I discovered myself. And luckily, I had someone in my life that was able to support me, and actually multiple people in my life that was able to support me and help me through this. And ultimately, what it comes down to is that hopefully you'll find yourself a person that you can talk to and help you explore yourself. Hopefully you surround yourself with the same kind of people, because those are the people that you need. If that's something that you might not have at the moment, you're also more than welcome to come over to twitch.tv/velky, where you can always talk to me about things. And also, if you want to, feel free to leave a comment about your bisexual story or your sexuality story or how you came out to people. And also leave an idea for a topic for the next video, because we're gonna make another video next week. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Big thanks to the YouTube and Patreon members for supporting me financially, because you make it possible for me to make these videos. If you want to support me as well, feel free to check out my Patreon in the description. And make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, so you stay up to date with all my new content. And I hope you guys have a lovely day. Happy New Year to all of you, and I'll see you guys around next week. Bye bye everyone, love you. Bye bye.